And I'm going to look for it in the feed. And okay. Hi, everyone. Welcome back. This is Questionable Advice. I'm Simone Holder.
And I'm Ashley.
And this is episode 3, I think, right?
Yeah, we've been consistent.
Yeah, we've been consistent, exactly. And this week's theme is Father's Day. So happy Father's Day to all the fathers and the mothers who do double duty. I hope you're being spoiled and pampered by your offspring today.
Yes, parenting definitely deserves spoiling.
For sure. So do you want to just jump right into it?
Let's dive right in. Okay. We didn't have anyone message us any questions. So as I have done before, I just forgot.
We found questions.
Questions. Okay, that's better. All right, so do the screen share thing. Okay. There we go. Do you want to read the first one?
Sure. So, reluctantly bitter. My dad passed away about 5 years ago. We were very close, and the grief hit hard. I saw a grief counselor and most days managed to stay in the acceptance stage. However, certain holidays make me feel a lot of negative things like anger and bitterness towards my friends who can see their dads. I know these emotions come from grief, but that isn't enough to will them away. What can I do to reach a point where I can be happy for my friends while also missing my dad?
A nice uplifting one to start with. Do you want to tackle this one first?
Sure. I totally understand where the writer is coming from because I lost my dad 6 years. It'll be 6 years on July 28th. And the thing is, you're never going to get over it. You're never going to be at a stage where you're okay with your father being gone. It's going to hurt you forever. I am concerned about like feeling the bitterness and anger towards your friends who still have their fathers. I don't think that's even though I understand that, I don't think that's a healthy state of mind to be in. I know for myself, I'm envious. Maybe it's envy that the person is feeling more than bitterness and anger. I don't know, but I know I feel envy when envy and happy that my friends still have their fathers and that they have good relationship. Hopefully they have good relationships with their fathers. Cause I would give anything, to have 5 minutes with my father again. So you're always going to miss him. It's always going to be hard, and you're going to vacillate between acceptance, denial, anger, all the stages. You're going to be going through those different stages for the rest of your life. In terms of dealing with your friends, you don't want your friends to feel guilty that their fathers are alive. That's not healthy and that's not good either. What I do is I'm happy for my friends if they still have their fathers around and they're still happy for them and they're still healthy and they have a good relationship with them, and it's like, I do feel sad because I miss my father so much. And that's okay. You're missing your father too, and that's normal, totally normal. And, you may never get to a point where you're okay with your father being gone and you're okay with your friends having their fathers around. Like, that's not even achievable. But the thing is, I don't want this person to feel bitterness towards their friend that still have their fathers. Because the thing is, they're going to lose their fathers at some point. It's going to happen to everybody. And, they probably most likely don't understand how you're feeling. And I'm sure they're not, unless they're assholes, I'm sure they're not trying to rub it in your face or anything. But when the time comes and they lose their father or they lose a parent, you're going to be the person they turn to because you've been through it. You understand where they're coming from, and you'll be in the best position to help them through it. So that's my 2 cents.
I would just add that I think maybe this person needs to start seeing their grief counselor again.
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
Yeah. Good grief counselors aren't going to say, "Oh, it's been 5 years, you should be over it." They're going to say, "Okay, it's been 5 years and you're still feeling these negative emotions. Let's see what other tools we can give you to work through that."
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah.
Because the bitterness is a little alarming. Like I lost my dad 8 years ago, and I'm jealous as shit. Don't get me wrong.
Me too.
Every Father's Day, looking at all those posts, they're with their dad. I'm jealous as hell.
I'm jealous too. I think the only time I felt bitter or close to bitter was, say, the first Father's Day.
Yeah.
That very first one, because that hurt. That really hurt. Yeah.
For me, that one was less than a month after he passed too. So that was.
Yeah.
I was sure about the timing.
Yeah, like when my father passed in July, so it was like almost a year when the first Father's Day happened, but it's still hard. But like weeks or months after,
yeah,
that's hard.
There's never a good time. And that's a good point you made too about how maybe the letter writer, I think her name was Jen, needs to remember that she is at a point where she can offer sort of expert advice to her friends who are going to go through this traumatic thing.
Yeah.
Maybe looking at it like, thank goodness they get this extra time before they have to experience this extra trauma.
Mm-hmm.
A better way to spin it.
Yeah, and I also think it makes a big difference, like the age you were when you lost your parent. I think that has a tremendous thing because I was 47 when I lost my father. You know, so he saw me get married, he saw me get divorced, he saw, you know, he was there for everything, he saw everything. Versus, because I had a friend who lost his father a few months after we worked together. He lost his father a few months after I lost mine, but he was only like 27. And he was getting married the following year and stuff. So it's still a huge loss, but at one point, if you're a kid, like I have friends who lost their fathers when they were teenagers or in their early 20s, like that's got to be even harder. For me, it was more like the circle of life. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Where it's like my father was there my entire life. So I think the age at which the letter writer lost her father probably plays a big role in how she's feeling as well.
I was in my late 20s when my dad passed away, and that was before I got married, before anything, and that sucked. And I get not bitter, close to bitter. I like major life.
You're sad, and you feel like you've missed.
Like when I got, when I left my ex-husband, I was like, I wish Dad was around to see this awesome moment. But then I try to contrast it with my brother. My dad remarried. So my brother was only like 4 when my dad passed. So I always try to say, like, I at least got a baseball coach, like pictures of him at my grade 8 grad. He helped me write my valedictorian speech. I still remember his like advice on how to get a job and how to interview, and which I will impart this to everyone. When you're in an interview and they say, what is your biggest weakness? Pick something unrelated to the job and then mention how you're overcoming it. And that is like the best dad advice I ever got.
That's the best advice. And it's not like I care too much and I work too hard. Like, that's not the answer. That's complete shit.
Tell them bad at public speaking and then be like, but this is what I'm doing to overcome it.
Mm-hmm.
Which I tried to do actually in my last interview. But then they're like, aren't you also a stand-up comedian? How are you bad at public speaking if you're...
You'd be surprised. Like a lot of people get into it to overcome the fear of speaking in public. So that's a mechanism too. So
that was my dad.
Yeah, I think without knowing how old because if she's 20 and she lost her father at 15, that's devastating.
Yeah.
That's far more devastating, or it does more damage than you're 45. You know what I mean?
I think
So
definitely revisit her grief counselor though.
yes, definitely. Yes, she definitely needs some grief counseling. I'm all for grief counseling.
It was one of the greatest things I went through.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Because I did it. Because when my father passed, I was living in Toronto, so I was far from my mother and far from my sister, and I was like alone in Toronto. So I thought it was important. So I went to I found a grief counselor and went for a few months, and then I lost my mom a year and a half ago. And when I moved to Ottawa, it was only a few months after. It was all these changes in my life, and I sought out a grief counselor as well. You know, so that's good advice.
No harm in counseling ever.
Oh, never, never, never. I think everyone should be in some sort of counseling.
Okay, our next one. Okay, can I do this one?
Yeah.
So, my dad is amazing. Honestly, best dad in the world. My wife and I are both very close to him. I talk to him on the phone multiple times per week, and we have Sunday night dinners with him and my stepmom every week. They're fantastic, which makes my complaint silly. My dad greets everyone in person, on the phone, and in emails by saying, "Hi, diddly ho, neighborino," like Ned Flanders from The Simpsons. Clearly, my branch of comedy is not impression. It sounds harmless, but the phrase plus the impression, it's just too much all of the time. My wife says that I'm overreacting, but she hasn't had to deal with this for as long as she can remember. Is there a way I can gently ask my dad to, well, act more grown up? Am I being ridiculous? And this is from Edward.
Do you want to go first, or you want me to go first?
Do you mind? I'll go. I have thoughts.
Okay, yeah, go.
So I think Edward needs to just relax. Like, it's a greeting. Your dad's not answering the phone saying like, "Hey,
fuckers!" Like,
yeah, so he's not like, "Women can't drive. How's it going?" Like, it's just an annoying little phrase. But I think it's harmless. I think the wife's in the right. I think that maybe in emails, if he's writing business emails with that as his greeting, I think that goes back to like our Comic Sans discussion from last week. Yes. He either needs to be a full discussion about like professionalism in emails, but if he's just writing his kids and forwarding stupid memes or whatever, like, and they seem to have a wonderful relationship otherwise.
Yeah, exactly.
Reading, like, just, I don't know. One thing I used to do with my dad whenever he got a little annoying is I'd be annoying right back. So if he played stupid fucking song by Big Wreck all the goddamn time, I would play a song that I loved all the goddamn time. It's a little passive aggressive, but it can be playful if you have that relationship. So if it's driving Edward insane, Edward should maybe greet him with something else. Like, I don't know, say dope all the time. Like, pull Homer Simpson impressions. Just make it an inside joke, because that way you're not going to feel so about it. You're going to laugh about it.
Exactly. I agree with you. I think Edward needs to chill the fuck out, because it's annoying. Fine. One day he's going to wish he could hear that again, and if that's the worst thing that his father's doing, we should all be so lucky. You know what I mean?
No, right?
And the thing is, if he says something to his father, he's going to hurt his father. He's going to embarrass him. He's going to hurt his feelings. And really, like, it's not like he's saying, hateful, horrible things to, greeting people with like, some hate symbol or some hateful words. He's being playful. He's being friendly. And I think saying anything to him at this point, especially since Edward says they have such a great relationship, saying something to him about that, it just seems petty, and he's going to hurt his father. And I'm sure he does not want to hurt his father's feelings.
I think you're absolutely right.
Yeah.
I have to apologize to everyone. I can feel my hair like is annoying me. There's like little wisps, but I have to have the fan on. Otherwise I'll melt in real time.
She'll pass out on screen.
It's 32 degrees in my apartment right now. So
that's wow. That's crazy.
Okay. Next question. Oh, this one's sad. Your turn.
Okay. Honoring my fiance's dad. Despite the pandemic, I got engaged. Kurt, my fiance, and I are planning a smallish wedding, mostly friends and family, for the end of 2021, hopefully. Kurt's dad, Bert, passed away last year. Bert was the first person in Kurt's family to accept him after he came out and has been like a second dad to me since I met him 3 years ago. How can we honor Bert at our wedding? Blaine. I have some experience with this.
Yeah.
Okay. My sister got married 3 years ago, in 2017. So my father had already passed away. My brother-in-law had lost his father about a dozen years before that. And his mother passed a few months after our father passed. So to honor the three of them at the wedding, we had a wedding. They got married They got married in Cuba. I'm not trying to take over. I'm not projecting. They got married in Cuba, and at the ceremony, because the only living parent was my mom. So at the ceremony, they had 3 chairs, empty with their pictures on them, and that was their place, And then the same thing, like at the reception, there were 3 spaces with their pictures. One of our friends took our dad's picture and put it on the bar with a drink next to it, sort of thing. So that's how they honored them, that they were there. They were there in spirit. We had, we toasted them, and but there were distinct spaces for them, and that's how they honored them at their ceremony, which I thought it was beautiful. I know when I saw it, I was like,
Yeah.
But that's how they did it, and I thought it was beautiful.
So my dad passed away before my wedding. My wedding was awful, so we won't use this as an example. But we did save a seat for him in his memory. If I were to get remarried, I would do the same thing, save a spot. And I think I would have. So my dad was really into like alternative rock songs. So I would have maybe one of his favorite songs read at the wedding as a reading, something like that.
Yeah.
I think in this case, that might be something that they could do, or even like if there is, excerpts from an email that maybe Bert sent them that they could put together to like form some sort of like father of the groom speech. Even to do something like that might be nice, and have another beloved family member read it.
Yeah. There's so many things that can be done.
Yeah, I think those are nice. And then having, again, like at the reception, having say certain songs played, that kind of thing. When my dad and I always said we would dance to Brown Eyed Girl. And actually, an ex of mine reworked that to like it was a really nice in like a minor key. And I've always said like if I do get remarried, I would dance to that version of that song with my son Cooper to sort of make it like full circle. Cooper
That's beautiful.
My first wedding at the practice.
That's so sweet. That's so sweet. Yeah. There are so many beautiful ways that loved ones can be honored. Yeah.
That was a sweet one. Let's see if the next one. Okay. Do you want me to read this one, or do you want to? I forget where we're at.
Yeah, you can go ahead and read it.
All right. So my dad has a bad habit of telling some pretty terrible and offensive jokes. And I want to highlight that the person said they were terrible as well as being offensive.
Okay.
Whenever he gets called out by me or others in my family, he'll say stuff like, "Oh, but Bill Hicks tells offensive jokes all the time. You're just being too sensitive." But the thing is, Bill Hicks was a funny and he a seasoned comic. My dad is neither of those things. It would be one thing if those jokes had a point or were even a little bit funny. In brackets, Tony says, I don't expect to enjoy all types of humor, but Bill Hicks, my dad is not. Is there anything I can do? Tony. Tony, I love the Italian last name. I had to anglicize that a little from the very Italian last name I took this from.
Okay. So I think with this one, they have to keep calling the father out. They have to keep, especially because it's one thing to say terrible jokes, because you know dad jokes or corny jokes or stupid jokes, but if they're offensive as well, yeah, they need to keep calling that shit out. And you know, oh well, Bill Hicks says it. You're not Bill Hicks. You're not Bill Hicks, so lose it. You know, I think they should keep calling. They have to keep calling him out.
Yeah,
and telling him why. Not just like, oh, dad, don't say that. Why it's offensive as well. You know.
And as Bill Hicks was, he probably did not say those jokes at dinner on Sunday night.
Yeah, he probably just said them on stage.
You know what I mean? Like I highly doubt that Bill Hicks was like, hey, I'm gonna workshop my new jokes with my mom and my dad. Like
yeah, Thanksgiving dinner. Exactly. Yeah.
I completely agree. I think they do have to keep calling him out. And I think every time he mentions a comic, I think that maybe,
even if they say, well, you're not Bill Hicks, you're not funny.
That's it. Yeah.
You're not talented like Bill Hicks was.
Or even like come armed with facts. So will Bill Hicks be like, yeah, do you know how many times Bill Hicks bombed before he made those jokes actually funny? Like maybe don't make our Sunday night dinners your opportunity to bomb. Exactly. And so the passive aggressive bitch in me wants Tony to sign his dad up for an open mic.
Yeah, you think you're Bill Hicks? Go on.
Tell your shitty jokes on stage.
Tell your shitty jokes in front of a room of people.
Yeah.
Yeah. You think we're too sensitive? Go ahead. Please.
Yeah. No, I know that's very petty of me, but I think that it could be like a worst last case. You know, you just have it in your back pocket. Just like.
Yeah. Because if he thinks he's as funny as he thinks he is, yeah, go peddle your shit on an open mic.
Yeah.
If you think you're so funny and so talented and these jokes are edgy and great, go try them out. Either he'll do it and bomb, or he'll shut up. What if
exactly? Worst case scenario, you embarrass your dad in public, but I don't think that. I don't think Tony's too worried about that.
Yeah.
For a while ago, there was a comic that was making me uncomfortable for choosing not to date him, and was also telling really shitty jokes on stage. And I remember complaining to Al about it. Al took immediate action, and I did not have to deal with said comic. But one thing that Al said was that some comics are like spoons and some are like knives. And the spoon comics are all edge and no point. And the knife comics have a lot of edge, but there's also a really sharp point at the end of it. And if you're a spoon comic, you need to work on your stuff before you take anyone else's time. And I think that maybe it's a good analogy for this guy, for Tony to think about with his dad. His dad is trying very hard to be a knife, but he's mostly just.
He's a spoon. He's a spoonie.
That brings us back to the Simpsons with knifey spoony.
Because the thing is to have a point, you're highlighting an issue, you're mocking an issue, you're bringing attention to something by either ridiculing it, mocking it, or just bringing attention to it. So the build up to that point, could either be considered offensive or edgy or whatever, but you have a point. Otherwise, it's just a shitty, offensive joke. Yeah. Or not even a joke. You're just saying shitty, offensive things into a microphone. So
and then I'm pulling the like, oh, I was just kidding.
It's just a joke. But what's that thing? There's always a bit of truth to a joke.
Yeah.
Even what we do, it's based on truth.
Yeah.
So,
on stage and talk about
and that's usually the thing that people say when they get called out on. So I was just joking. Fine, whatever. It wasn't a joke until I called you out on it.
And there's a good time too where that like playing dumb can come into play. Oh, I don't understand why that was funny. Can you explain
Yeah.
to me? Oh,
Yeah.
so the
I don't
reason
get it. What do you
it's
mean?
funny is
Yeah.
you don't think that women can drive. Okay. And I'm thinking
Yeah.
that because it's the least offensive thing I can, not the least offensive, like offensive, most offensive joke I could think of right now. But
Yeah, like for me, I can give you a real world example. When somebody says to me, "You don't sound black," and my response is, "Well, what does black sound like?"
yeah,
And they get all uncomfortable because it's like, really, like, what, you're telling me I don't sound black, so clearly you are the expert. Tell me what it sounds like.
yeah.
They never can. They never can. They never can. You know.
And here I was thinking that black was like affected like, a skin tone, not vocal cords.
Exactly, exactly. Because I always say, like, wherever I grew up, I'd have that accent, and just by being black, whatever I say is black, sounds black, sounds black for me. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I just think that's the dumbest shit ever. Don't say that, people. That's one of the dumbest shit.
Bonus advice.
Exactly. Here's a little tidbit.
Right. Let's see what's next. So yes, your dad's not Bill Hicks. Let a crowded absolute discover that.
Yeah.
Right. I'm making you read all the sad ones, apparently.
Okay. My friends don't get it. My dad passed away 2 months ago. Father's Day is going to be very hard. We used to spend it at his favorite pub together and had even planned on getting a drink there today if the patios were opened. I want to go to that patio alone and have a pint and a meal to remember my dad. His favorite server will be working too. My friends say I'm being selfish because I should leave patio spots to larger groups. They also say that I have been down in the dumps for too long and that I should start to be more social by participating in our weekly Zoom calls and trivia games again. I think my friends are being unrealistic and are pushing me to move on too soon. What do you think, Jane? This makes me mad. This one. Your friends suck. Your friends are fucking assholes. Your friends suck so hard.
Jane
Clearly, your friends have never lost anyone. Clearly, their friends have never lost anyone close to them. I think what she wants to do is lovely. I think it's beautiful. You know, it's only 2 months. Like, that's still raw. That's still. I consider that just happened.
Yeah.
That's just happened. You're still, you know what I mean? And the fact that she, pardon?
Been in quarantine for longer than the time that she's lost her dad.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. You know, I think it's lovely that she wants to honor him that way, to go to the place that they went together and stuff. I think that's beautiful. Her friends, on the other hand, are a bunch of pieces of shit, you know, very, very insensitive. You know, is the thing is, you don't have to have lost a parent to feel empathy. You know what I mean? Like when I lost my dad, um, my friends in Toronto, most of them had never lost a parent, but they were still empathetic. They were still sympathetic. They were still good people, even though they couldn't relate to what I was going through. They gave me space. They gave me time. They didn't rush me. No, not one of my friends ever said, "Come on, it's been like 3 months. Like, you know, don't go to the patio with your sadness and keep it away from, you know, you're keeping like a patio spot from a happy person." What kind of bullshit nonsense is that? This person needs new friends.
Yes, absolutely. That and that line was in the original question I got. So that's the one that got my back up the most.
Yeah. Just reading it, I was just like, you know.
I mean, you know what? Sure, if it was like a Wednesday or whatever after work, and you're just like, oh, I'll go have a drink, and you see a long lineup for a patio where there are 4 tables and you know you're only going to spend $10. Maybe rethink your, you know what I mean? Maybe
No, I think if you want to go have your drink, go have your drink.
Like
Yeah.
situations like this where your dad's gone, you're doing something special. Like, don't think twice.
Exactly. Just do it. Do it. And like, fuck your friends. Or friends, those friends suck. Those friends are terrible.
How lovely that her dad's favorite server happens to be working on Father's Day.
Yeah.
And that's going to be someone that I know that servers right now aren't spending a lot of time interacting with tables, but there's going to be a chance for you to commiserate sort of with someone who's gonna get it more than friends do.
Who probably misses your father too, because if her father liked this person, you know, that this was their favorite server, I'm sure the server misses him too.
I can't even, and I wasn't a server. I just worked the front desk at the hotel, but I was in the restaurants quite a lot because my job was very boring. And that's where the soda machine was. So, to get my free coffee, my free drinks, I had to go to the bar area. I would be devastated if any one of those regulars passed away.
Mm-hmm.
In fact, the whole COVID thing where I could only keep tabs on the ones who had Facebook, and I didn't know if some of the other guys were all right, was actually a whole extra level of stress.
Yeah.
You know, so I'm sure the server is going to be grief-stricken and would absolutely love the opportunity to chat with.
Yeah.
Daughter.
Yeah.
If, God forbid, one of my regulars passed away and their kid came in for a drink, I guarantee you they would not be paying for their drink. And it would be lovely to have that conversation with them.
Yeah. Like when my dad was an avid golfer. My father loved golf. And he had been a member of the golf club for, I don't know, maybe 30 plus years, maybe even 40 years. And when he passed away, every single person at that golf club, every employee, every golfer signed a card and sent us flowers. Aww. See, I get choked up because I was so moved by it, and they have a picture of him in the clubhouse. You know, so fuck those friends.
Yeah, get new friends.
Get new friends. Get new friends.
In Kingston, we can set up a patio. You get in touch.
Because the thing is, I'm sure the writer has gotten more empathy from strangers than her friends. Like, I'm sure her friends, just based on this, her friends probably weren't very supportive.
No.
You know, because they're more concerned with their Zoom calls and get new friends. Get new friends.
And to that end, like, I know that it's tough right now to like make new friends.
Yeah. I'd rather have no friends than friends like that, though.
Yeah. There are online grief counseling groups that you can find. You can search for it, Google by region. Some of them you can search for by age. There was, I don't know anymore in Kingston, I feel bad, but there used to even be, there was a young widows group.
Because that's another group, another demographic, young widows and widowers.
Yeah.
That they don't feel because I had a friend who, I think we were 30 when her husband died. He got suddenly sick and died. And she went to like widow support groups. And, you know, she was the youngest by like 30, 35 years. And she couldn't relate to the people who were there, and they couldn't relate to her, even though they had all lost a spouse. You know, she got a lot of, oh, you're young, you'll find someone else, like almost dismissing her sort of thing. So she had to like seek out more. She had to seek out more like military spouses.
Yeah.
Military widows and widowers. Just because there's more of a variation in age with that than like your traditional or standard widow or widower's survivor group, you know, but you find your tribe. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly.
You find your tribe.
And even though COVID's a thing and whatever, it's still possible to find people in your area online. So.
Yeah. You can still find a network of support that, okay, you can't meet them in person yet, but you can have that connection and they can help you. And then eventually, hopefully, you're able to meet.
Yeah.
You know, but you get the support in the meantime.
Until then, I hope she didn't let those people join her social circle.
Mm-hmm. And I hope she went and had that drink to honor her dad.
Yeah. And you know what? It's only 4:30, so if she's watching, she can still go.
Yeah.
Patio at Copper is open till 8. Hashtag. All right. Okay, I think this is our last one.
Okay.
This is my favorite one. Can I read it?
Yeah.
Okay. My dad, to put it bluntly, is an awful person. He has no redeeming qualities. He was alcoholic and abusive. It was an awful environment to grow up in. Dad says he's changed, but my brother and I have heard this song and dance before. Troy is engaged, and despite not speaking for my dad for the past 2 decades, he and Helen, his fiance, are worried Dad may show up. Helen suggested that we send out a letter that says, basically, you're an ass, don't show up. However, I think we should send out a letter that says, basically, you're not welcome, don't fucking show up. Which one of these 2 letters do you think we should send?
I don't think they should send either. I mean, they should let the father know that he's not welcome, but I don't think they need to word it that way. You know, I don't think they need to word it that way. Yeah, I get their anger, and I understand why they don't want him there. But I don't think they should sink to that level to send something that like crude to him. You know, maybe he's not planning to come. They don't know. Maybe he has no intention of coming. If he's changed, if he's truly changed, he's probably like, I'm sure they don't want me there. I'm not going to go. Maybe I'll send a gift, whatever, but I'm not going to physically go. Yeah. And I don't know if there's they can't say, were you planning to come? Because we don't want you there either. You know, they can't do that. But I mean, if they feel compelled to like let him know that he's not welcome, I think a short, concise letter without calling him an ass or telling him to go fuck himself or something. You know, something you're not welcome at this wedding. You know, we're getting married, but based on our history, you know, I hope you're doing well, but we would prefer if you don't attend our wedding. I think something along those lines. I don't think they need to be all, you know, fuck you kind of thing. And if after sending that to him, he still shows up, you call the police. That's all.
Yeah.
You know?
I think they should just take the like, don't tell him anything approach.
Yeah. If that's the better approach. But if they feel compelled to say something, what was that?
He doesn't even need to know that they're engaged.
No, exactly.
You know, and then if they find out through family members that he's planning on coming, I imagine family members are probably aware of the situation.
Yeah, and family members might be like, yeah.
And you could like have a few trusted family members appointed to say step in and be like, okay, so here's the deal.
Yeah.
I think that like the less that this dude knows, the better. And that way you don't have, because sending a letter, I get the temptation to. I have family members.
Of course. Of course. We all wanted to send that letter.
Yeah. For sure. But yeah, I think that just nothing, because sending that's just going to make him want to prove you wrong.
Exactly. That's just going to like poke the bear sort of thing. And if you haven't spoken to him in over 20 years, the chances of him knowing are low. The chances of him even showing up are even lower.
Yeah.
So I really don't think they really should concern themselves. I like what you said about having like some trusted family members who could, you know, who have their ear to the ground and would hear or know if he found out about it and what his plans are, that could step in and say, that's not a good idea.
Yeah.
You know, rather than sending out sending out a letter like that.
Yeah, he just doesn't need to know what's going on.
No, no. If he hasn't been a part of their lives for that many decades, they're not obligated to share any information with him.
When I got engaged, that was one thing I remember. I read a lot of like, I bought every single wedding magazine on
the same.
But I remember reading advice columns like that, and a lot of them were just like, well, if you're not sending them a Christmas card every year, they have no obligation. Like, if they're not going to notice that someone else has joined your family, you have no obligation to inform them that someone else has joined your family.
Mm-hmm.
And I always
exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. Because I know when I got married, I didn't want my in-laws there. They came anyway, but I didn't want them there. But yeah, I just think there are better ways to handle things, and you don't always want everything in writing either. So
Yeah, you gotta watch what could be conceived as a threat.
Yeah, exactly. And I'm not saying that these grown children of this person have no leg to stand on in terms of the difficulties they had living with this person. That they had a hard time with this person. This person was abusive and difficult to live with, and I don't even understand that, because that wasn't my my life growing up. But I understand why they wouldn't want him there, and I understand why they don't believe that he's better.
Mm-hmm. Oh, for sure. And you don't always have to have the last word. Is maybe something.
Yeah. Not everything. You don't have to react or respond to everything.
Yeah.
It's not always necessary.
I think it was Cameron Esposito who has like a stand-up bit where she was like, people on your phone, but here's the thing that you can do, and like she has a little thing, you can just put it down and walk away.
It's true. Like I know for myself, I always had this thing where I had to have the last word, or I had to respond somehow. And it's only like within the last maybe 10 years that's like, I don't have to do shit. I don't need to respond. I don't have to do anything. No response is a response.
That's right.
No response is a reaction, and I don't have to react to everything.
Yeah. Not everyone deserves your time, attention.
Exactly.
I used to say when I was freelancing, I was getting paid between 1 cent and 10 cents per word. So I'm not going to type any words that I don't want to say if I'm not getting paid for them.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. You're going to say words that are worth your while. Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah. Well, that was all our questions.
Okay.
I don't know if anyone in the comments has another question.
Oh, let me check the comments.
Yeah. Looks like I see Tom says any saying from seasons 1 to 10 will do, probably in reference to our Simpsons.
Oh, yeah.
Everyone knows that after season 10 it got.
Yeah. And then Rochelle says hi to both of us. And then she said boundaries, good answer. I can't remember what question that was.
I think that was the last one.
The last one? Okay.
Yes, we do this every Sunday at 4.
Yeah, every Sunday at 4.
We don't always see them. Today was just a special Father's Day one. Usually we try to answer a variety of questions.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, this was just a Father's Day edition that we were on the fence whether we wanted to do it, just because I know I'm feeling a little like right now, because we both are fatherless. We both lost our fathers, and Father's Day is difficult for us because we've lost our fathers. I know it's difficult for many because they may have a complicated relationship with their father, or they don't know their father, or something. Everyone has a struggle, and we don't know. We can't pretend to know everyone's struggle or assume that everyone is feeling a certain way about today. I get a little weirded out at Father's Day and Mother's Day sort of thing, and holidays and birthdays, all the days in between. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So yeah, so we were on the fence, and we were like, you know what, let's do it. We'll be answering from like an honest perspective. You know that because I'm sure the majority of the questions that we answered, if we were two women whose fathers were alive and well, we would our answers could have been a bit different, you know. But because they're both gone, a lot of them we answered with, "It's not that big a deal," you know. It's not that serious. Like, let it go, just let it go. And I find that that has been, I think part of that is like for myself, not just in terms of this conversation, but just like life in general, that um, I've gotten to a point in my life, and it could be age, it could just be life experience, that it's not that important. There's certain things I pick and choose my battles. You know what I mean? I don't have to respond to everything. I don't have to react to everything. You know, because that's exhausting. You know, if you're like with everything, that's like
Yeah.
it's a lot. It's a lot.
Well, there's the spoons analogy that
Mhm.
psychiatrists love, where like you start the day with so many spoons, and each task or each interaction costs a spoon, or gain you can gain a spoon or it costs a spoon, but you're still only gonna there's a finite amount of spoons. You
Yeah.
can't be giving them away willy nilly.
Yeah.
And if
Exactly. You need to
someone doesn't
protect your
deserve
spoons.
exactly, if someone doesn't deserve my spoon, or if I feel like that interaction is going to consistently cost me spoons without ever granting a spoon, then it's not an interaction I'm gonna.
Mm. Exactly. And sometimes, like, you have to spend a spoon. There are times where you have to,
Yeah,
okay, this is going to cost me 3 spoons, but it's worth it.
yeah,
There are going to be times like that. Those times, I think, like the high cost spoon times, I think are few and far between, or at least they should be.
and that's why it's important to reserve them other times. Like, don't
Yeah.
get into an internet battle with your shitty dad.
Somebody who, exactly.
Yeah, when you're gonna have to spend 3 spoons to like maybe negotiate a better price on your wedding hall with your officiant or something, or you're gonna have to go to work and deal with fucking Karen who can't fucking decide anything. You know, you have to
Yeah.
spend your spoons there. Maybe don't get into a flame war with.
Right. Or you have to advocate
Not
for
to
a
say,
sick parent or something, you
yeah,
know, but you wasted your spoons on, you know, your Twitter battle with some 14-year-old for all you know, who said something you didn't like. Like
yes,
yeah,
exactly.
save your
So
spoons is what we're saying.
exactly. So thank you guys for watching.
Thank you. And we'll see you next week, next Sunday at 4, as
Assuming I don't
usual.
melt in the meantime.
Yes. Okay. Bye, everyone.
Bye, guys.